Hey, I just finished a CNN town hall with Senator Bernie Sanders. One of the moments that stood out to me was his advice to a young person in the audience about not just talking with other people about your point of view, but also listening to other people, listening to our fellow citizens, to members of your community, to your neighbor.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's your guide CB, and today we're diving into vibes and drama of Bernie Sanders at Town House. You already know I'm bringing the realest reactions, no filter, just facts. So grab your popcorn, hit that like button, and let's go get into it. This one got people talking. So let's see what the hype it's all about. Let's go.
So what I would say to young people and all people, go outside your zone of comfort. It's easy to talk to people who agree with you every day, but you're going to have to listen to other people who may disagree with you. Maybe they disagree with you on abortion or gay rights or whatever it may be. Sit down and talk to them. I've been to every state in this country, and what inspires me is the knowledge that our people, by and large, are decent human beings who want the best for their kids. And our job is to bring people together around an agenda that works for all of us, and to bring people together to oppose this horrific drift toward oligarchy and authoritarianism that we are seeing right now. Raise your hand if you think that the American healthcare system is working. Raise your hand if you think the American healthcare system is not working. All right, let me rephrase the question. Raise your hand if you think the American healthcare system is working well. Anders, how many people are raising their hands?
None.
Raise your hand if you think the American healthcare system is broken. Raise your hand.
Majority, everyone.
Not a majority, virtually everybody in the room.
I can see behind that guy. But.
And that is, all right, question again. How many nations, wealthy nations in the world, do not guarantee health care to all people as a human right? Anybody know the answer? Which country? All right. Now, you're not going to hear much about that on corporate television. You're not going to hear much about that in the United States Congress. We're the only major country on earth that doesn't guarantee health care to all people. 85 million of us are uninsured or underinsured. 60,000 die each year because we can't get to a doctor on time. That's the bad news. You know what the good news is? The insurance companies are making tens of billions of dollars every year denying you coverage. The drug companies charge us the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. So how does it happen that in the wealthiest country in the history of the world, we're spending twice as much per capita as the people in other countries, and yet we have one of the worst outcomes, healthcare outcomes, of any country on earth? And it gets back to money in politics and the domination of big money, in this case insurance companies, drug companies, over the Republican and Democratic.
I want to try.
Wow, Bernie Sanders is absolutely right. The American health system is broken. I mean, just look at the numbers. We pay more per capita on healthcare than any other developed country, and yet we don't even have universal coverage. How does that make any sense? What Bernie said about people going bankrupt over medical bills, that hit hard. It's heartbreaking that in the richest country on earth, people have to choose between getting treatment and putting food on the table. That is not just fair. It's immoral. And when he talked about the pharmaceutical companies and insurance industries profiting while everyday Americans suffer. Yeah, that is the root of it all. It's not about health, it's about profit. People are dying because they can't afford insulin or basic procedure, while CEO cash in on billion-dollar bonuses. And don't get me started on the administrative cost. It's ridiculous how much money gets wasted in the system just pushing paper instead of actually helping people. Bernie, not just ranting, he's pointing out a crisis, and the fact that some still deny it is mind-blowing. We need real reforms, not band-aids. The system's broken, and it's time to fix it.
Senator, there's been a recent movement to minimize or erase the identities, experiences, and histories of diverse individuals and communities. Given these efforts, what specific legislative measures, reforms, and actions can we as educators advocate for to promote the inclusion of diverse perspectives and histories within academic curriculum?
Look, I happen to believe that if we are going to do what we have to do, we have to understand history. We have to understand how we got to where we are today. I believe that very strongly. And there's some aspects of American history that we should be enormously proud of. There are some aspects, like in every other country on earth, we should not be proud of. But to try to push slavery or racism or homophobia or sexism under the rug and say they never happened is a disservice to the kids of this country.
Some of these moves have been reversed, but President Trump's also now going after the Smithsonian, accusing them of, quote, divisive race-centered ideology. Do you think the administration is trying to whitewash American history?
Of course they are.
All right, look, I give Bernie a solid B+, maybe even an A- on the town hall. They did great. People are sick of the big money politics. They're sick of Donald Trump, and they're really sick of Elon Musk. So I think I give him a B+, A-. But if he wants the A, the solid A, tell us, Bernie, what you would cut.
Look, am I going to sit here and tell anybody in America that the United States government doesn't have a bureaucracy and there isn't waste? Of course there is.
Yes, I agree. Doge is dumb and mean, and they're thoughtless and reckless. But people are tired of paying all these taxes and seeing it not turn out the right way. And until Democrats come forward and say, look, Doge is wrong. We would cut this. We would cut that. We would streamline this. We would streamline that. I don't think people are going to believe us. Bernie himself said that government is inefficient. Great. What would you cut, Bernie?
Wow, Bernie Sanders just laid it out. And honestly, it is impossible to ignore the points he's making. When he says the American healthcare system is broken, he's not exaggerating. In fact, he's probably being too polite. Because when you look at what is actually happening, when you look at how this system treats people, it's heartbreaking, frustrating, and infuriating at all once. First of all, let's talk about costs. We as a country spend more money on healthcare per person than any other nation on earth. And you'll think with that kind of spending, we'd be leading the world in health outcomes, right? Wrong. We don't even rank in the top 30 in terms of health outcomes. Our life expectancy is lower. In fact, mortality is higher. Chronic illness is rampant. So, where is all that money going? That's what Bernie is pointing out. The money isn't going towards patient care. It's going towards insurance company profits, massive CEO bonuses, marketing departments, and administrative bloat. There are literally armies of people just trying to navigate insurance codes, billing system, approvals, denials, pre-authorization. It's a complete mess. And meanwhile, the actual doctors and nurses who are supposed to care for us, they are burnout, they are overworked, they are undersupported. And then there is the whole issue of access. Bernie mentioned that millions of people are uninsured or underinsured. About that in 2025, we still have millions of Americans who don't have reliable access to healthcare. People delay going to doctors because they can't afford the copay. They skip medication doses to make their prescription last longer. They avoid ambulance because they know a 5-minute ride could cost them $2,000 or more. That is not just a broken system, it's a cruel one. And when Bernie brings up medical bankruptcy, that is not just a statistics. That's a reality for thousands of families every year. Because lose their homes, they wipe out their savings, they go into massive debt, or because someone's family got sick. Imagine being hit with cancer, or needing emergency surgery, or having a premature baby. And then on top of that, all that emotional and physical stress, you get slammed with hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical bills. It's devastating. But here is the kicker. This doesn't happen in most other developed countries. Bernie is not just making a philosophical argument. He is showing us actual systems that work better in countries with universal health care. Whether it's single payer like Canada or hybrid system like in Germany or France, people don't go bankrupt for getting sick. They don't fear calling an ambulance. They can focus on healing, not hustling to pay off hospital debt. And don't let anyone tell you those systems are inferior. That is the line pushed by people who profit from the chaos here. But go talk to someone from the UK, from Canada, from Scandinavia, and ask them how often they worry about affording healthcare. It's rare. The peace of mind is something we just don't have here. Bernie also hit hard on pharmaceutical industry, and that part made me furious. The price of insulin in the US, astronomical. The exact same medication, same brand costs a fraction of a price in Canada or Mexico. People are literally dying because they can't afford a drug that's been around for decades. Meanwhile, big pharma companies are ranking in profits and their executives are living in a luxury. How is that even allowed? Ban is right. When he says this is a rigged system, it's not about what's best for patients. It's about what's best for shareholders. And the system is designed to keep it that. Robrist flood Congress with money to make sure nothing changes. They write laws, they broke reforms, they spread misinformation to keep people scared of things like socialist medicine, as if that is some kind of dirty world. Let's talk about the fear mongering for a second. Anytime someone brings up Medicare for all universal healthcare, we hear the same tired arguments. You'll have to wait longer. You'll lose your doctor. It'll cost too much. But let's unpack that. First, we already wait for care in this system. People wait months for specialist appointments. They fight insurance for approval. They delay care because of cost. So the wait times argument, that doesn't hold up. Second, losing your doctor, that is already happened all the time under the current system. If your employer changes insurance plans, you might have to switch doctors. If your insurance company drops a provider from their network, you're out of luck. It's not like we currently have this magical freedom of choice that's going to disappear with reform. That's a myth. And the cost argument, please, Bernie proposal actually reduces total healthcare spending because it cuts out the middlemen, it removes the profit motive from basic health services. Yes, taxes would go up, but you'd stop paying premiums, deductibles, co-pays, surprise bills. It balances out, and for most people, they'll end up saving money. Plus, it is predictable. You wouldn't get ambushed by an ER bill you didn't see coming. What Bernie is saying isn't radical. It's common sense. Healthcare should be a human right, not a luxury. No one should die or suffer because they can't afford care. And yet, that is the everyday reality for millions of people in this country. I think what makes Bernie's message resonate is that it comes from a place of genuine concerns for people. He's been consistent on this issue for decades. He's not trying to score political points. He's trying to wake people up, and the truth is, majority of Americans agree with him. Poll after poll shows that people want some form of universal coverage, but our political system is so clogged with money and special interests that's hard to break through. So what do? We speak up. We vote for candidates who support the reforms. We stop accepting the idea that this is the best we can do, because it's not. We're too smart, too advanced, too wealthy a nation to be dealing with this level of dysfunction in something as fundamental as healthcare. Bernie Sanders is sounding the alarm. He is showing us the cracks in the foundation. And it's up to us to demand better. Not just for ourselves, but for everyone. Because in a decent society, no one should suffer or die because they are poor. No one should be afraid to get help because they don't know if they can afford it. That is not freedom. That is fear. And it's time we choose something better. And if you liked my reaction, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share and give us a thumbs up. Stay informed. Stay healthy.